Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we'd like to begin our presentation of the 2006 Annual State of the County. But before I begin, I'd like to do a little something special for our speaker today. Normally our chairman for Seminole County is the one who does the address of State of the County, but our wonderful chairman, Carlton Henley, is out of town and could not be with us, and he thought it was appropriate, since this is Randy Morris's last year as a commissioner, that he gave his finale of the State of the County. So I'm going to ask Randy, come up here one moment, please. We'd just like to give you something in appreciation, because I've known Randy Morris. I met him on April Fool's Day in 1990, and they said it wouldn't last. And we've been through a lot of transitions, a lot of growth, but one of the greatest things I remember is the day we sat down and said, what do we want to be when we grow up? As we looked at a whole canvas that was available, full of opportunity and economic development. And we've been through a lot of different scenarios, but I think we've built a pretty good county. I think with the best in the whole state of Florida. But we couldn't have done it without true visionaries. And Randy is just that. He is a visionary, and not just a visionary, he knows how to get it done after the fact. So I'd like to just give him a little token of our appreciation for all that he's done through the years. And we have here Randy. If I can open. There's a little globe, and it's got a clock on it. And it says, Randall C. Morris, an appreciation for your leadership, vision, and time. You changed our world. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Morris.
Thank you all so much. When I looked at it first, I thought it was a crystal ball. It's really beautiful, and thank you for those kind words, Diane. Thank you all for coming. This is probably the last public speech that I'll be giving, so I'm sure many of you will be grateful for that. And I'm sure my commission will be too. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'll be speaking on behalf of the policies of the County Commission, but with my own sort of comments on the side, which they may not recognize. But I would like to recognize them right now. To the dean on our commission, our longest serving commissioner, one who only believes in doing it right and quality, Dick Vanderwide. To our freshman commissioner, now in his second year, I guess we should say sophomore, who has brought a new spirit and passion, who seems to be getting involved in every issue, and is a true champion for her causes, Brenda Carey. And to the Italian stallion, a guy who's only his height, his stature is so much greater than even his height. He has brought a compassion to the commission and a common sense, and is a very quick study, Bob DeLaurie. My friend Carlton Henley cannot be with us today. He has a family obligation, and had cautioned me that he will be watching the videotape of this, so I was told, as only the principal can say, be on best behavior. I want to start off with just recognizing our government. A unique thing happened last year, and it's the first time it ever happened. The county was awarded the Association of Fundraising Professionals, which is a philanthropic organization, and the first time they've ever given an award out to a government, and they gave it for the Outstanding Local Government Award for its philanthropic efforts. This is an area that many of you don't, you hear about the donations that the County Commission makes to multiple social agencies and charitable causes, and that's what you typically read about. But what you don't read about is the literally tens of thousands of hours that our county employees have put in public service beyond their own job in our community. Our county commission has recognized these individuals on a regular basis. This community almost never, the greater community of Seminole County, almost never hears about them. I want to thank and salute our county employees for this incredible award, first of its kind ever given to them. If you would, please. And even though we're talking today to the Chamber of Commerce and the business leaders in our community and many community leaders, one of the areas the County Commission has been focused on greatly, even though we are turning out, as you'll see later in this presentation, to be one of the wealthiest communities in Florida, we've never lost our sight on those people that were less fortunate. A couple of years ago, we made an initiative in one of the poorest communities in our county, which is called East Altamont. Those of you who remember East Altamont, just a few short years ago, as you were driving in rush hour and you approached the traffic light there on 427, your window may have been knocked on by someone selling you crack cocaine. The neighborhood, the people have picked them up themselves by the bootstraps. And in picking themselves up by the bootstraps, they have been recognized, completely changing the community. So well have they been recognized that, are you all familiar with Extreme Makeover? You all seen that show? It's just a phenomenal show where they go around with people who really merit a new home because of what they've done, what their life story has been, and how they've given back to community. Well, this morning at 9 o'clock, none of you know this, at 9 o'clock, Extreme Makeover came and knocked on the door on Amanda Street, was at Sadie Holmes' house. And in 1 week, in that neighborhood, they're going to rebuild her, tear her home down, and put in a 5,000 square foot home for her. That house will be built, as you know how the program works, in 1 week. The program will air, I believe, sometime in the next 2 months. So we'll be looking forward to that. As you know, and by the way, I want to always remember the corporate sponsors. Progress Energy and Mercedes Homes are doing that project. Even though I'm not running for office again, I got to stay close to those who helped me. As you know, the main theme of our government has been maintaining a commitment to quality. As I introduced Dick Vanderwide, that's what he's insisted on, and our other commissioners have consistently insisted on, is quality. We've built a quality community, we have quality businesses, we have quality social services, and I think we have quality governments countywide. We've had a commitment in our government to families and business. It was back in 1997 that the first State of the County speech had been given. I was asked to give it by Wayne Weinberg. I wouldn't give it until he guaranteed me, I said, no one's going to come to a State of the County speech. And I said, I'm not going to give it to you until you got the room sold out. So he calls me back a couple days later, he says the room's sold out. Of course, he lied. But the funny thing is every State of the County speech has been sold out then. So I want to thank you all for coming to the State of the County speech, which we know is really a fundraiser for the Chamber of Commerce. I think that's all the chamber directors now are pulling. Relative to, we made a series of predictions back in 1997, and I'm not going to go over all of them with you, but I will tell you that in 1997, before the Orlando Sanford Airport had taken off, we predicted it would be, wow. They didn't tell me about that. Would become a reliever airport to Orlando International. You'll hear more about them later. We also predicted that when we were on target on roadway design and beautification on every county road, countywide. We also predicted that a new courthouse would be built. We predicted that a trail system would come in place in Seminole County, and that trail system wasn't even voted on to the voters till 3 years later, and now we have a countywide trail system we're working on. We predicted Sanford Waterfront would become a famous tourist destination. Okay, we got a little enthusiastic about that one, but we do know, sorry, Mayor, we do know that it is a phenomenal, dramatic transformation going on that waterfront with their Riverwalk. We also said, bizarrely, Altamont Springs would be filled with high-rise offices and becoming recognized as a northern urban center. We also predicted that Oviedo's downtown would have the most direct access to our natural resources of any city in Central Florida, and that they would develop their downtown. They are on target to do that. We predicted that Winter Springs would create a new downtown. They were then arguing the issue. They have now moved forward with great vigor on where they're headed, and it's wonderful. On predictions that we made at that time of what would be what we'll call works in progress. In other words, this was a 10-year prediction line. So this is where a politician always gets an ability to stretch. In other words, you never quite admit you're wrong. We predicted the light rail, you'd be doing a 20-minute drive downtown, the light rail would be in place. Now look, stay tuned. It was a 10-year prediction. See if we vote through commuter rail, and we'll just say we meant commuter rail. We predicted that there would be a beltway around Orlando. If you remember at the time, we were fighting for the missing link money. I think there's going to be a beltway around Orlando. We predicted, here's the big miss. Oh, you hear that? That's a boom sound, like a thud. That's what they're giving you now. I predicted there'd be a conference center. Yeah, there you go. We did predict in a bold prediction that Castleberry's redevelopment district would be transformed into Northern Main Street. Now that's cruel, because Castleberry is doing dramatic work on 1792, and you'll see later in this presentation that we were right on what Castleberry is doing. We also predicted, well, there it is again, Longwood have access to light rail. Enough for predictions. Let's talk about where we are right now. The last time I spoke to you, we were in the first day of the county speech, we were the second most densely populated county in the state with a population of 1,281 residents per square mile. We're now the third most densely populated because our growth rate has been slowed, and deliberately slowed by policy of the county commission in many of the cities. Our growth rate now is 2%, less than 2% annually, population. To give you a comparison, Orange County is 4%, Osceola County, and we have wonderful friends here from Osceola County. I thank you all for making the long drive up. They grow at about 6% a year in population. The region is growing right about 4% in population a year. And what's interesting is when you get into where the growth is occurring, the county actually is growing at the 2% number. Some of the cities, this is the growth trend, if you take a look at the chart there, which is of course not the chart that I'm looking at. But where you see this incredible rise in population, and I'm absolutely clueless what the numbers said because I can't read them from here. But I do know what this says. On the population of the cities, if you take a look at this dramatic growth, give you an idea, Altamont Springs has had very good managed growth, 37,000 to 42,000. Castleberry has been flat in growth, population growth. Longwood's been flat in population growth. The big Winter Springs has had fairly well managed growth from 25,000 to 33,000, but the big surprise, in my opinion, is Lake Mary virtually doubling in population in the past 10 years, and of course Oviedo virtually doubling in population. Very different from the county, though, that's only had a total increase in 10 years of about 25%. What's also been dramatic is you know, this is really good when they give you the water glass. What's also been dramatic is the growth in the county residential versus commercial growth. This is in property values, real value of property. If you look at this going from, again, 6 million to 10 million, they're just dramatic figures. I can't read them either. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Okay. But what's also happened is dramatic in this next slide, and this is where we're starting to get some concern. Under residential development, if you look at the blue lines versus the green lines, you will see that in just a few short years ago, the dramatic growth in apartment construction, multifamily, and residential permits versus single-family construction. To give you an idea of what's occurred in those peak years, we saw virtually the same number of multifamilies being built, apartments and condos, as homes. But in the last couple of years, it's dramatically slowed down, where just last year, countywide alone, 3,800 building permits were given for single-family housing, and apartments were down to 342. But get this, here's the threat to this community. Apartment to condo conversion was 3,000 units went offline in 2004 and 3,600 last year. So not only do we have no growth in apartment construction, we also are having a conversion factor. Well, here's a conflict that the county commissions and the cities are facing. The conflict runs that you have a goal of home ownership. We have one of the highest home ownership values in terms of our total population in Florida. So you want home ownership, but you also want market entry people who can live in an apartment and who are in lower paying jobs and ultimately be able to live in the community where they work and then ultimately buy into the community. This is a serious threat to our community, and you can see the numbers. It's one that's going to require serious study in the future. What is also dramatic, and when we were doing the research for this address to you, is commercial and industrial construction. If you take a look pre-911, you realize that 2.8 million square feet were under construction that year. After 911, it dropped dramatically down to 2 million. We've never attained back to where we were just a few short years ago. And another trend that is dramatic. And this is one that you all are familiar with, but I think the numbers are even more frightening when you see them presented in this fashion. When I gave you the first address in 1997, the average home ownership value, the average home value in Seminole County, across Seminole County, was right at $118,000. Until 2003, that number grew to $155,000. A reasonable rate of growth, sustainable, reasonable return on your investment for your home. But since 2003, you've seen the home spike to 168, 218, and now for 2005, it has gone just in 2 years from 155 to 273,000. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not an affordable community. That is not going to have all strata of people being able to, who are our workers, who are our firefighters, who are our policemen, who are most of the middle level and lower level managers, all throughout your corporations, being able to live in this community. And what does that mean? That means you're not going to have a diversified community. It also means you're going to have major traffic problems as people commute to our work centers. What's happened is that we've had a dramatic success in the county and the city's cooperation with respect to our economic development program that was designed in '93 and implemented in 1995. Our goals were great: strengthen and recession-proof the Seminole economy through business diversification, attract high-wage jobs, and expand non-residential tax base, a critical element to what we wanted to do. We targeted I-4 Lake Mary. We've expanded the targets to the Sanford International Airport and the 1792 corridor. Let's talk about those for just a moment. The I-4 Lake Mary corridor has seen its Class A office in the past 7 years grow 500%. You know the corporations that have come here. What's also happened, though, is a dramatic lack now of office space in the corridor. Right now, Colonial Town Center, which is just, well, I don't know what direction it is, but it's over there somewhere. It's 100% occupied. Colonial Heathrow, formerly known as the Heathrow DRI, HIBC, 2% vacancy rate. In fact, the entire Lake Mary submarket, its vacancy rate, and I'm going to hold this one slide for a second, its actual vacancy rate for the whole submarket is right around 13%. Those are incredibly, any city would be happy with those kind of numbers. In fact, what it shows is a deficit for future growth in Class A office. And let me show you something else. If you look at this map here, this shows you all the remaining Class A office space available left, all the red. Now, before, there used to be a lot more red. That red's gone away. Some of it is turned into Class A office, but a significant majority of it's turned into apartments and retail. So we have not built the Class A office as we did when there used to be towers and construction cranes all over the area. Okay, let's go. In fact, let's really go. Here's some more numbers. These give you the vacancy rates. Go. But what has happened at the same time, the Lake Mary office market is completely being built out, and there's a threat to how much additional Class A is available. Altamont Springs has stepped forward in dramatic fashion. This is what's being built in Altamont Springs right now, rendering what it will be. A $300 million master plan is in place with waterfront development. The project size is 25 acres, 1.5 million square feet, and 20-plus buildings under construction right now. Crescent Resources and others are also doing an 80-acre site of 1.5 million Class A at the Gateway Center. Altamont is becoming that urban city that we predicted it would be, not just Altamont Mall. And one of the groups that's really helped in terms of our business focus of what we've done is the Florida High Tech Corridor Council. This is a 23-county membership in the entire Central Florida region stretching across I-4. 615 research grants, $43 million in corridor funds are matched by $90 million and 200 for participating companies. 1,200 graduate and doctoral students are involved. 300 professors and associate professors are doing the research for them, trying to convert Florida into this current century and leadership in high tech. Partnered together with UCF, the University of Florida, and University of South Florida. Randy Berridge, we thank you for having your headquarters right here in Lake Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Berridge. As I told you, our primary focus on the county on economic development is moved towards the Orlando Sanford Airport. We'll now turn our attention to the airport. It's now it's the fastest growing airport in North America in 2004, the most recent numbers we have. 46% increase in passengers. 2005, it had a downturn in actual passenger traffic as we had a retraction in the airline industry. It lost 3 carriers. But 2006 is back and having its best year ever as projections. Its traffic is split 66 international and 34 domestic in terms of flights. What's important about this is, though, is you can't get on a plane from here and fly to Europe. Only they can come in. So we're kind of a British receptor. You know, if you can't see me, you can take that sign down. You know, I know you're straining. How you doing? That's you. I'm talking to you. But what the problem here is that, so we don't have an ability to fly international, although we do have an ability to fly domestically. Let's take a look at the next one. We'll show you where they are right now. And in their domestic travel, they now are reaching all these cities, and with an announcement this year that the county has partnered with them, they will be flying to Europe. The county now is going to provide $75,000 over 7 years to bring in Iceland Air and Fly Globespan, and our total contribution is $525,000. Iceland Air will be able to take you to any port of call connecting in Europe, and it'll start in March 2006. Fly Globespan in June of 2006. Our partners at the airport, and I have no idea where they are in the room, but I know I saw a number of the board of directors here from over there. I'm not going to introduce Larry Dale because I refuse to, but I will introduce his board. To the board of directors of the airport, your vision, your plan is the future of this county, and I want to tell you why. Right now, 4,600 airport jobs, 21,000 regional jobs, $1.5 billion in impact this year. And they haven't even started on their growth pattern. They have 575 developable acres relative to business investment, and there's an additional 1,500 acres. If you look at this map, 1,500 acres for light industrial manufacturing around that airport. That is the future of our diversified economy, and we think in the next 10 years that it will have a state of the airport speech. How about that for a prediction? Another key element we have is US 1792, and this is the redevelopment project. We're partnered together with 4 cities in the CRA district. This is a community redevelopment agency. This is one of the more, if you will, business depressed areas in our county. In fact, before the CRA was set up in pick a year, 97, I think. Yeah, there it is. The 5 years prior to, now you got to get this, those of you in real estate, the 5 years prior to it being set up, in the entire 5 years, the property values inside this redevelopment agency district only increased by 3%. Not 3% a year, 3% in 5 years. Since the county commission and the cities joined together on this, the property values have risen from $238 million to $400 million, a 67% increase. The average annual increase now annually is 8.5%. This next slide sort of shows where it's interesting what's happened. The majority of this district is in Seminole County, unincorporated, in Sanford. You see where they're right, and that's the vast tracts. But look, remember what I said earlier to you about Castleberry. Look at Castleberry's property value increase. If you don't think they're changing that downtown or what they propose for a downtown, 187% increase in property values. Winter Springs, 140, but everything they touch is gold. And Lake Mary, of course, 100%, and you're always at 100%. You're a 100% city. Okay. Never mind. I got to do this, I know. Okay. There's a slide coming up on the Job Growth Incentive Program, but you've already all have heard about this. I mean, it's just been an incredible success for us. 30 new companies since '95, 11,000 new jobs, average wage of $44 million, 20,000 spin-off jobs, $300 million in direct capital investment coming out of this program. Small business development is another key area that we've been focused on, and we have a partnership both with SCC and the Seminole County Port Authority, and in terms of both of our two different projects, and the Sanford Airport, in terms of two different development centers for small business. You all might know that it was announced, I think it was announced today or yesterday, that Orlando is number 2 in the nation in small business development. And Seminole County is right on pace with that. Small businesses, by the way, are defined as 99 or less employees. And what does all this mean? What it all means is our unemployment rates in 2005 at December, 2.5%. Now, for the economists in the room, unemployment at 4% is considered full employment. So we are a net employer in terms of immigration of employees from surrounding counties. The national, of course, was 4.6%. And you can see what our surrounding counties look like relative to us. And then you go to, what does that employment mean? Well, what that employment means, where do you think in Florida would be the wealthiest household income county? Say Sarasota. Well, don't speak all at once. Well, now you did, and I couldn't hear a word you said. Palm Beach County, Sarasota. Something like that. I heard different ones. Actually, sorry, on the urban counties in the state of Florida, it's Seminole County at $73,000 household income. This compares with Palm Beach at $66,000. Florida average $58,000. U.S. average $64,000. And the median disposable incomes, that's the money they get to spend in your businesses, are the same type of numbers. And now we move into the area of where do all these workers live? Well, when you get into the housing market here, I've already given you some really startling news, and at least it was startling as I realized what's really happened over that short period of time. We no longer are experiencing the diverse housing opportunities we have with $273,000 average price of a house. We have trouble. Commissioner Henley, or Chairman Henley last year challenged this room with saying this was happening, saying this was going to be trouble. Our county commission is now weighing what we can do. We need to clearly partner with the cities, try to come up with some dynamic strategic plan to deal with this issue. Or we will literally price many of our small businesses out of our own market, and that's our future growth. Now, what I'm going to do right now, if we will, we need to turn down the house lights a little bit. We're going to introduce you to the new economic development video for Seminole County. This is the first time it'll be previewed. I hope you enjoy it.
It's the difference between life and a lifestyle. Here's your invitation to an area that's accessible, affordable, and beautiful. Seminole County, the other side of Orlando.
Derek, come on!
There's more to Seminole County than good looks. Seminole County is one of the most economical places to live and do business in America. Seminole County and the state of Florida offer many great incentives for companies coming to the area, like tax refunds for job creation and grants for training programs. And of course, there's no state income tax in Florida. There are tax exemptions on electricity and steam for manufacturing, and exemptions on sales and use tax for machinery and equipment.
We looked at 200 different locations across the country and finally selected Seminole County for several reasons. First of all, it's obviously a lower cost of doing business in Seminole County than in New York City. Additionally, the county provides a conducive atmosphere for doing business.
Seminole County offers the comfort of being away from the hustle and bustle with the convenience of city life. Its proximity to Florida's I-4 corridor and 2 international airports make it easy to connect to the rest of the nation and the world. It's also home to a foreign trade zone that includes the Orlando Sanford International Airport, as well as 6 business parks throughout the county. And you won't have to worry about a 2-hour commute. Seminole County has far less traffic congestion than its urban counterparts. The expressways are efficient, well-maintained, and equipped with an automated toll system that makes the longer trips a breeze. On the local level, Seminoles County and state roads are clean and easy to navigate.
Well, at South Seminole Hospital, we employ over 900 individuals, and we have absolutely no trouble getting people into or out of the hospital. We don't have problems recruiting because of transportation. It's very easy to move around in the county.
What we're going to do is we're going to put the thread through the loop like that, right? We're going to come around. We're going to hold this here, and you got to watch, because when I get done, you're going to do one too.
A good education is priceless. You'll learn that Seminole County is known for its excellent schools. Money Magazine has ranked Seminole County in the top 100 school districts in the nation. SAT scores for the county consistently top state and national averages. And the area is close to many accredited colleges, universities, and technical schools.
And they say good help is hard to find.
One of Seminole County's best resources is its people. The talent pool in Seminole County is young, well-prepared, and eager to stay in the area.
Sprint employs about 1,000 people in the county, and we've been extremely happy with the environment, extremely happy with the quality of the education, the availability of the workforce in order to staff the needs that we have. Several years ago, when it came time to consolidate some call centers throughout the country, Seminole County was chosen as one of the locations to add considerable workforce.
In Seminole County, you'll be in good company. The county is located in the heart of Florida's high-tech corridor. Companies such as Mitsubishi, Chase, and AAA all call Seminole County home. Speaking of home, Seminole County offers lots of great choices in real estate, from condominiums to townhomes to the home of your dreams. The peaceful neighborhoods are perfect for families. And there's lots of possibilities for great weekends. Gorgeous nature parks, boating and fishing opportunities, golf courses, and sports complexes are all right here in Seminole County. And you're just minutes away from the thrill of Orlando and world-famous amusement parks. Seminole County has a progressive, business-friendly government that's here to help you every step of the way. You'll experience the difference when you meet face-to-face with Seminole County Economic Development representatives. Whether you employ 10 or 10,000, you can be confident that Seminole County is adept at meeting your industry's unique needs. Let our economic development team do the research and prepare a customized proposal to assist in the specifics of your project.
Come on, Gary, you gotta come in. You don't want to come in? Come on, come join us. The water's fantastic.
Come on, Garrett. You can do it.
Come on, you can do it. It's really fun.
You gotta jump in. All you gotta do is jump right here. It's nice.
Easy.
You're gonna be so happy with
So go ahead, make the jump.
You're gonna jump. Here we go! Yeah!
To the other side of Orlando, Seminole County. Find your place in the sun.
All right. It sounds like a dreamy place to live. And I know I heard the chuckles when you all saw that traffic. It must have been filmed at 6 o'clock in the morning on the Beltway. But you know, the Yankees believe in anything. And dealing with infrastructure such as transportation. As you all know, the 1-cent sales tax was renewed in 2001. This is providing, in the 20 years, will provide over $1 billion to infrastructure, and we will continue to keep pace with our growth. And we also, a percentage of that, $120 million went to school construction. We also, in 2001, passed the Trails Program, and the Trails Program is going to be countywide within the next 3 years. I had to put this slide up for Mayor Green. This is the Chicken Coop Bridge across Lake Mary Boulevard that had some controversy on the County Commission. But we also want to remind our friends and to always remember of the partnerships that we've had, the things we've done, even as we have difficult times ahead and have our disagreements. Let's remember what we've done in the past and what we're working on together. On the Natural Lands that was a subtle private communication. On the Natural Lands Program, this is an interesting dilemma too. Our Natural Lands Program has been so successful. When the voters voted to approve a tax increase, we've leveraged $20 million to 7,000 acres of purchases. These are the sites, the major sites around the county, and the program runs out of money in about 2 months. So we have a decision that we'll face on our county commission of whether or not we renew that program or not. Go back to the voters and ask would they like to continue this dramatic success story and leveraging of money that our staff has been able to do. If you look also what the county, we've been concerned with at the county is our partnerships that we've had. I can't go through all the partnerships and I can't cite everyone in this room who's contributed in what we've done together. So this is the obligatory part where we run every possible logo we can find just so we said we did mention you. But our biggest partners are, the biggest partners that we have are the cities. And the cities, we are working on a very dynamic project right now, the Joint City-County Advisory Committee, that's looking to see wherever we can to enhance government services to all of our citizens, find cost savings where they can, do consolidation where we can, and try to act in a more unified way for greater efficiencies, greater services. That committee's work is going on right now. The recommendations are beginning to come out from that committee. Every recommendation that's come from that committee so far has been unanimous. Carlton Henley challenged us last year to do this. The county commission accepted a plan that I came up with relative to its design, and understand its design. There are representatives from each chamber of commerce on it. There's the citizen representatives. The 7 cities each have 2 representatives, and the county only has 2. We designed it so the county would be outvoted no matter what at any time, because it's the 600-pound gorilla that everybody fears. We wanted to say, don't fear us. And so far, this committee has done, I think, remarkable work in very short fashion. And unlike our neighbors in Orange County, we didn't pay a consultant $345,000 to teach us how to talk to each other. We're doing it on our own. Speaking of one of our number 1 partnerships, and I will now accelerate the speed here, Seminole County School Board has been a long-term partner. I believe, where is the school board? Back in the back, oh my God. I believe any school board member will tell you that their relationship with the county government and the city governments are the envy in the state of Florida. At least that's what they tell me at budget time. And, what they have done is if you are not familiar with, Newsweek ranked the Seminole County high schools in the top 3% in the nation, and that was in June of last year. Orlando Business Journal, in their survey of all the Central Florida counties, ranked every high school in Seminole County in the top 25. Thank you, my daughter, my son, appreciate that. In higher education, another partner we have as we move through our commitment to education is Seminole Community College. We have many of the board members here, and Ann McGee is with us directly in front of me. They've had a 40% increase in enrollment in 10 years, a 59% increase in square footage, which means they're keeping pace with their growth, with their infrastructure. Of course, never enough if you listen to Ann. 378% in financial aid, from $4.5 million to $21 million. They are now offering 4-year degrees, but I want to really highlight the Heathrow Center. This is a partnership now with the Seminole County Economic Development Office, the Chamber of Commerce, the Florida High-Tech Corridor, and Metro Orlando EDC. All of these we house in this building, this educational building, as a collaborative hub. That's the first of its kind in Central Florida. Sid Miller, we salute you for bringing us all together. The community college also, when the last time I spoke to you, had 1 campus. Now you will see this is the dramatic outreach in such a short period of time. It is a real tribute to this community that has supported the college, and it's a tribute to the College Board of Trustees and its leadership with Ann McGee. The partnership for SCC is continuing and expanding to the University of Central Florida. A joint building is proposed or announced or something. I can't remember what Ann whispered in my ear before I came up here, but whatever it is, it's a big deal, and we're real excited about it. And the University of Central Florida, as you know, now has 45,000 students, 94 master's degree programs and 24 doctoral degree programs. Research just eclipsed over $100 million. They're internationally known for their College of Optics, their simulation and training and computer science. They also are recognized as a leader in engineering. just 2 years ago, they were announced as 11th largest college in the nation by population. This year, they're now the 7th. The growth is so dramatic, and to get into this school, it has exceeded in its quality levels in terms of its requirements. I think it's now a 3.8 average with a 1180 up higher. Never mind, it's getting harder and harder to get in. So it's amazing. But also what's amazing is the impact that they have on the area. Their research park and university together are $3.3 million. We have been proud in Seminole County to support that college. We've supported over dramatic citizen opposition their master plan. We've supported their attempts to improve their campus quality of life with their athletic center. We are partners with them with one of the most dramatic projects that we're working on. Our partnerships all aside, I want to go back to challenges one more time. In the My Region study, University of Pennsylvania, that's a partnership that we have region-wide that's been studying the area and trying to come up with future plans. My Region brought in the University of Pennsylvania, which has a renowned team called the Penn Design Study Team. They came down and they looked at reasonable population projections where we'll be. There'll be 7.2 million people by the year 2050, 850,000 people in Seminole County. Now let me get an urban legend out of the way. Everybody who talks about build-out talks about build-out. We're going to be built out in Seminole County in 5 years. Yeah, we're going to be built out in Seminole County in 5 years. Did you just hear the number I just said? 800,000 in 2050. That's not build-out. In fact, if you go into build-out numbers, here's what people are concerned about. Large developers, housing developers, when you look at this vacant parcel, this is important to understand. 0 parcels of the, and again, I can't read it, I don't have glasses. But the 0 parcels on the large tracts aren't here, so it's no longer easy to go in and come in and build the crossings. It's virtually impossible now in the county, the area right here in Lake Mary, which has, I think, a bunch of homes. Anyway, but you have a lot of smaller lot parcels and a lot of infill development, and you will see a lot more high-rise development. That's what you're going to see. So build-out is not there. That was an urban legend. It was a terrible misspeaking that I made in 1997 when I spoke to build-out, and I didn't qualify it to you all what it meant. Build-out is residential, commercial, industrial, Class A office. There is one build-out number that's accurate. In 5 years or shorter, we will be built out of Class A office. Every other number, forget about it. The build-out is 20, 30, 40, 50 years away. So the next time someone says build-out, remember what I said. And if we go to, we can go ahead and skip this. If we go to the people in Rovino, Winter Springs, we don't want to talk about the rural area. All right, suffice it to say we're trying to protect the rural area. And we got a lawsuit going on, and we'll see what the courts have to say later about that. This is be nice. Carlton said be nice. But I do want to talk about a little bit on the forecasting what's going on. And by 2013, we will have 500,000 residents here. We will grow from 187,000 jobs in 2010 to 252,000 jobs. This is a 35% job growth rate in this county as we attain the Class A office build out, but then as we expand at the airport development on a whole nother strata of jobs. Service jobs are going to increase by 45%. Professional and technical occupations will grow from 35,000 to 52,000 in 2010. Here's the other dramatic news. In 2010, the I-4 Lake Mary corridor will be the largest office submarket and retail element in the entire 7-county Central Florida district. You got to think about what this is up here. The millions of square feet of retail combined with the millions of square feet of office. It's really its own urban center and has been recognized that way on Wall Street. For the final part of my address to you, I want to address a dramatic, and this is the first announcement of this. Seminole County is developing a project called SciNet. Now, if you're starting to think about the Terminator, where the raise of the machines and the machines took over, yeah, that's the kind of the idea. This is where the county really does take over. But SciNet is a concept where a staff member came to my office about 3 years ago and said, what if we could take all of our government resources and communicate with all of our other government agencies? And I asked the question back, what if the citizens could, and there are no mosquitoes in Lake Mary? What if the people, the citizen at home, could communicate on all levels and find every bit of government data about any subject they wanted with a concept, and this is what was being presented to us, drill down technology. Those of you who are familiar with drill down technology, or those of you who aren't, would understand that that means you basically, fundamentally, can go to a computer screen, access a site or query, and every bit of information, without having to jump to a link, pulls up and pulls up and pulls up. So you aren't jumping. Everyone who's done a computer search knows you get lost in the maze of link to link. Jump to the college, jump to the school board, jump to the tax appraiser's office. Try to find out about your own home, and you're in 20 different sites not retaining what you had before. With all respect to our dear friends at Microsoft, Windows can be there's a lot of pains there sometimes, and it can be a real pain trying to keep your data together. Drill down technology is a dramatic breakthrough. It's never been successful. The query that employee, his name is Don Fisher, who's now the acting county manager, then director of planning, the query he asked me was, do you think we can try this? Well, the county commission accepted the challenge. We partnered immediately with UCF. I want to show you, just take a moment here. In our partnership with UCF, we took some of the brightest talent that they have at UCF, and we started a project that will roll out its first phase in April. We've been very quiet about it because government hates to fail and certainly be exposed. So I'll tell you a little bit more after you see how SINET will affect you. And I really want our partners of all the agencies I've mentioned to understand how they then could integrate with this county system. All of our partners in this room can be a partner in SINET, which is the first of its kind, as broad of a vision, done anywhere in the world. Please.
What if, with just a few clicks, you could find out what programs and projects are planned in your neighborhood or business community? What if wireless existed everywhere, and you could conduct your business from any device that has internet access? What if you could easily find real estate with the zoning, the schools, the roads, and other features you are looking for? What if your contractor was able to pull permits, view plans, check the status of permits, or request inspections without leaving the job site? What if the government notified you via email, phone, or fax on the status of your application, including a link to the live document? What if all the resources available to help you grow your small business were easy to find and focused on your specific needs? SINET, bringing government down to earth, making information available to you, the customer, on your terms. Now imagine, if you will, having all the information, all the resources your local government has, readily available, easily accessible, simply at the touch of a button. Just imagine going to one place, one resource to find out what's going on around you, where existing facilities are, where schools, parks, local businesses, and shops. What new projects are on the horizon? What road projects are being proposed? What special areas are being studied? What new neighborhoods are being planned? Imagine from the same place conducting all your business transactions, applying for permits, paying fees, finding the status of all of your applications, getting your fishing license, reserving a campsite. Imagine doing research on where you could start that new business, finding the transportation resources you need, mapping out where your suppliers and customers are, what incentives are available, where wetlands and flood-prone areas are, what's the current zoning and land use. SINET is all of that and so much more. SINET is a fresh approach on how government conducts business and uses technology to serve the customer. SINET is doing government as it has never been done before.
That's SINET. And with us today, we have Dr. Ron Egeland, who is one of the world experts in drill down technology. Ron, would you stand up? This is our UCF partner and his graduate students. We thank you, Ron. All of us on this team have taken a risk, but we've also been being observed. About 6 months ago, a major corporation started observing what our work was. This major corporation only has, and observing us, has asked if they can become involved. They want to become both a financial investor, which we love. They also want to, and it's significant is what they tell me, financial investor, and when you hear their name, you're going to go, oh my goodness, that could be significant. At least I hope so. And they also are going to bring in their people from Redmond, Washington, who are going to assist us in this plan to carry this project through to fruition. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the National Service Executive, Public Sector, Jim Gillen from Microsoft Corporation, our newest team member on the SciNet project. If the project is successful and continues on its rate, it will literally change the way people across the world do business with their governments. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to make any, at the conclusion here, I'm not going to make any predictions on the future, because I don't have to, I won't be in government. But I want to take one moment of personal privilege. I've had a remarkable tenure in government, from being the mayor of Lake Mary to the county commission. I've made many, many friends, many of you in this room, and I mean real friends, not political friends, not the people you just say hello to and backslap. But I want to take one moment. One friend became Mayor Tom Green. Tom not only helped me personally and my family, I love you, brother. Thank you all very much. I hope you have great continued success in the decades to come.